Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the CDL podcast channel. In this episode today, as you can see by the screen, it's prediction time. Brock and I are pretty much going to spend the whole episode making our predictions, talking about the teams, talking about Major 4. Then probably going to do it in reverse this episode, going to jump into a little bit of news just at the end, maybe touch on that depending on how long we go on the bracket. If you guys enjoy this one, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. If you're on the audio platforms, drop a follow, drop a 5-star review. We appreciate all the support as always. And I'm just super excited to get in, predict this bracket. It's crazy to think that we're predicting our last major of the year, and then we go into champs. So super excited to dive into this one. Brock and I will both be picking our own brackets as usual. You'll see them both on the screen. Brock, how you doing today?
Oh, doing pretty good here. Fine Monday. Just excited to get in this bracket and champs right around the corner.
Yeah, it's champs super exciting. Normally Major 4, I mean, obviously Major 4 still very exciting, but normally I'd be a little more excited. But unfortunately, as you know, Brock, there are going to be no fans, which sounds weird to be like, oh, well, we're at home anyways watching it. Like, why is no fans not as exciting? It just isn't. Like, the vibe of the tournament, like, you're not hearing the roar after a big play. I don't know. It's just like, it's still fun to watch. It's still a Call of Duty tournament. It's still fun and all that. But, like, I don't know. Like, seeing somebody get a big 3-piece or like a huge 1v2 clutch in a grand final and hearing literally nothing is like
Yeah,
kind of a vibe kill.
yeah, and I'm sure the players aren't gonna be as hyped as they would with fans.
No, it's just like weird to get up and get hyped because like if you get up and get hyped and the crowd's screaming back at you or booing you, it's like you're kind of like playing off the crowd. But here, like you stand up and you're just screaming in an empty room, listening to yourself scream.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just it's odd. It's not a great situation. I hope with the CDL announcing when that whole like settlement or whatever came from the Hecz and Scump lawsuit, them announcing like they're going to provide more funding for teams. I'm hoping this doesn't happen in the future where teams have to back out like Carolina did. And like, I remember, I think it was New York last year, 2 years ago, whatever. Oh, it had to be last year because in Vanguard, they had that New York major where Crim and them qualified.
Yep.
So last year must have been where New York backed out and they had the Columbus major or whatever that I think LAT beat OpTic in the final on that one.
I believe so.
Yeah. But like, it just like kills us. Like the vibe is just not there. I don't know.
Like you said, yeah, vibe kill, and hopefully it just the last year of this nonsense stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I would hope with like the extra funding, like that's going to provide like an outlet for teams to like feel more comfortable because like they said they're going to put an emphasis on like trying to like show the importance of how important it is for teams to host and like grow those local fan bases. Like they said, they're going to put an emphasis on the importance of hosting events and like entertaining fans that way. So hopefully that means that the CDL is going to provide more funding, more help because these teams, like we know that they're losing a lot of money when they host these events. Just with the cost of like, just hosting the event, renting the venue, setting everything up, like paying all the people that are working it and all that. And like, they don't charge like a crazy amount. I mean, I guess champs tickets, they were pretty expensive this year when we bought them, but like a lot of times it's like what, maybe $100 to $200 and like you don't have a crazy amount of people. So all the fees for the venue are not covered by that.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. I just the no fans kills me, but it'll still be fun because of the storylines. Just imagine the storylines. This event, like teams like making champs or getting knocked out from champs with the crowd.
And also, this is Carolina's supposed home major, and they're fighting for the last champ spot.
Yeah, that would be insane, especially with like the way that they kind of got screwed here. Like I'm pulling up the bracket here, like they're down here in losers round 1 after a heartbreaking way to end up there with LAT just needing to fall to New York. New York was up 2-0. LAT pulls off the reverse sweep to send Carolina to losers bracket.
Yeah.
It's like their run just being from losers round 1. If they were able to make the run and qualify for champs, it would be absolutely nuts.
Yeah. Man. And they got 2 teams fighting for a champ spot for the first round matchup, most likely, because LAG is most likely gonna lose.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, even the winner of like, let's say LAG do fall down, the winner of like that match probably isn't really guaranteed champs, especially if it's LAG because that would only put them to 150, so they definitely wouldn't be. But like, even Carolina wins that matchup, like they're at 160 and they would like potentially have a chance being at 160, like depending on how things shake out.
Mm-hmm.
They would like maybe have a chance, but it's like what's the standings at right now? Let me look at that. Yeah, because like 150 is the cutoff right now. Obviously, I'm assuming it's going to get higher than that. It's like between Vegas and Carolina, Minnesota, LAG, you would figure one of them is going to get to 160. Yeah, Carolina would get to 160. I mean, Vegas, there's a world where Vegas maybe gets double first rounded, like potentially, because I guess not. They lose, they go down and play Boston. So if Vegas gets double first rounded, that's really bad.
Yeah.
If they end up losing to Boston, never mind. I for some reason thought they were going down to play somebody else. But yeah, Carolina probably not even guaranteed to be moving on, especially because like a team like Vegas and LAT, who are just directly in front of them, and even Surge, like Surge or Vegas, one of them is guaranteed to win and separate themselves further.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, for Carolina's sake, they're hoping it's Surge because Surge is more out of reach anyways.
Yeah.
So they're hoping Surge just win it and then Vegas falls.
Yep, yeah. Definitely going to be interesting.
It's going to be super interesting, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best part, and we'll get into your bracket here quickly. We'll do yours first, but I think the best part about it, honestly, is the fact that like it sounds weird, but like with OpTic shockingly somehow being the last seed, which we'll talk about OpTic when we get to their matches, but with OpTic being the last seed, it shakes out here up in the winners bracket to be so interesting. Like obviously we have Toronto, LAG, so like 3 of our top 4 teams like for the whole year being Toronto, FaZe, OpTic, and NYSL. Only 3 of them are in winners bracket, and 2 of them play each other here in the first round. So that means we're at most going to have 2 of the top 4 teams in winners round 2. So that means they're going to be minimum 2 non-top 4 teams trying to get into winners final. And I mean, do I think like I'm assuming Toronto is going to win and FaZe is going to win? Do I think like Surge or Vegas are going to upset FaZe? Absolutely not. But do I think LAT or Heretics are going to upset Toronto? No, I do not at all. But like, imagine a world where like it's LAT versus Seattle winners finals or something.
Yeah,
it's the most possible it's ever been, just because the bottom teams are looking more competitive right now, and the fact that 2 of the top 4 teams are playing each other in winners round 1, so there can only be a maximum of 2 of them in winners round 2.
Mm-hmm. Can be a gauntlet in the elimination rounds for those teams that want to, get into champ spot.
And the way it shakes out too, Brock, like LAG and Carolina play each other, so one of them is going to get knocked out like top 12, assuming LAG do lose to Toronto in winners round 1. And then like the loser of LAT Heretics, like if it's LAT, they fall down and they play OpTic. So like a brutal match. Heretics, I believe, are already locked into champs. I think that happened this weekend. But like LAT, if they end up losing that, they have a brutal matchup against OpTic to stay alive, and keep their champs hopes. They technically, if like Vegas gets double first round and Carolina loses right away, LAG loses quickly, I'm pretty sure LAT would still qualify, but obviously they don't want to finish top 12 and have to pray on other teams.
Yeah.
Then if Vegas fall down, Vegas have an interesting spot though, Brock. If Vegas fall down, they would get to play Boston, but then they would likely play FaZe or New York.
Mm-hmm.
In losers round 2, because I'm assuming FaZe or New York, whoever loses is going to beat Rocker.
Yeah.
So Rocker honestly got the short end of the stick here. Like they got the brutal draw. They play the loser of FaZe NYSL.
Yeah.
Rocker probably needs at least a top 6 run in order to make it to champs, and they play the loser of FaZe NYSL. So I will say though, if Rocker does qualify for champs, that means it's going to be a really exciting weekend, because that probably means Rocker made a pretty crazy run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They have the toughest of the ones.
Yeah, for sure. They have the easily the worst draw, even worse than Carolina, who got kind of screwed out of winners. Carolina became the first team in the CDL this year to go 3-4 and not make winners.
Yeah, that's just very unfortunate. And also, I don't think it will happen, but LAG has the funniest thing to do if they end up winning, and Carolina has to play Toronto.
Yeah, that would literally be the best of both worlds for them. They get to send Toronto down to knock out one of their competition, and they get to move on to, they get guaranteed top 6 then.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen, but just imagine if that would happen. Carolina would just be even more down bad than they already are, since OpTic is in losers.
Yeah, and technically, Brock, all 12 teams are alive, because as we saw, like if 17 things go their way and Boston wins the tournament, they make champs.
Yep,
Massively
I'm
crazy.
ready for it. I'm ready for it.
Like I said, I'm gonna have to be watching a lot of VOD because I'm on a hiking trip this weekend. But if I come back all of a sudden, or like I'm looking at the end of the day watching a little random matches, and I see like Boston making the run and they win the tournament, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna be
Yep,
buying 5 Boston Breach shirts to wear every day at champs. I mean, it's gonna be
that
insane.
hmm that just be the cap out of the season.
I'm gonna assume they're just gonna lose 3-0 to Seattle or Vegas, but hey, um, I honestly just hope that happens because it would be the funniest thing ever if Boston just like wins the tournament. Just like everything, they're so bad all year and they just randomly win a tournament. That'd be so funny.
They find their form at the very end.
Yeah, but that's not gonna happen. So,
Yeah.
all right, Brock, let's hear your predictions. We'll start up in the winners bracket. I'll fill them out for you here. We got Toronto, we got LAG going at it. Your boys, Brock, LAG, they put themselves in a decent position with winners bracket, which is like, I mean, Carolina falls to the losers bracket with that LAT win over New York. But honestly, I don't know how much it really affected them because everything would have just been flipped. LAG would have been down. Where Carolina would have been up here. I really don't think it makes that much of a difference. I'm assuming both of them would just lose to Toronto anyways and end up playing each other. So obviously, like it does make a difference because if you're Carolina, you want that crack. Like any given day, you could beat Toronto. You never know. You want
hmm
that crack at it. It does make a difference. But at the end of the day, I'm assuming they were probably both going to lose anyways. So
Yeah.
what's the difference?
Yeah, that just makes Carolina have to play basically flawless if they want to go anywhere.
Yeah, pretty much. But Brock, are you gonna ride with your boys LAG, or are you picking what I would assume, unless you disagree, I would assume this is the most clear cut match of winners round one for pretty much everybody. Seems like it, at
Yeah.
least on the surface.
Yes, I would have to agree. I'm gonna sad my boys are gonna lose. They're gonna lose 3-0 to Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if you see it any differently. But to me, like looking at this bracket, it seems like Toronto should be able to walk through to the winners final.
It should be.
Uh, this
Yep.
next matchup though, Brock, is super interesting. This LAT Miami looks like it's the last game on Thursday. That's a very interesting matchup.
Yeah, these two teams always I feel like always like go like the distance.
Yeah, and it's two teams that this year have really struggled on land. I mean, Miami didn't win a map for the first two majors. Then they got their like decent top 6 placement at major 3 and they looked a lot better. And LAT, I believe, has just one match win on land this year. They got the one top 8. I think they have 2 top 12s. Like they've been horrible on land. One of them has to make it to winners round 2. Who you got here?
I'm gonna go LA Thieves in the game 5. I think they're gonna pull it out. I think just Ghosty, the Joe Deceives, Ramp Boys, Nasty. They're gonna do it in the search. Clutch up.
Yeah. It's a tough one because like Miami has looked really, really, really good for the past month or two. Like I heard a stat on the flank. It was going into this weekend. They had lost like one match to a non-top 4 team in like 10 tries and it was to LAT, but they were like 9-1 in their last 10 matches or something like that, or 7-1 in their last 8 matches, something where they basically had only lost to LAT in like the last month or two of the non-top 4 teams. So basically it was like Miami is still losing to the top 4, but they were basically farming the non-top 4. And they've honestly, when you watch them, they do look like a different team. Like Real has inserted something in his lineup. Like Metals has looked a lot better since getting put on the AR. Vickle
hmm
has had some pop-off moments. Like this team does look a lot better. And like normally I would think if this was like a little while ago, I would be leaning Thieves pretty heavily. But Miami is definitely a pretty formidable team. And I'm now at the point where like I didn't really want them at champs for a while, but now honestly they seem to be pretty consistently able to compete in every match. So now I'm excited for Miami to be at champs because I believe they are locked in.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be good. And the crowd, how many fans gonna show up root for them? It'd be insane.
Yeah, especially like online, there's going to be a lot of fans rooting for them. I don't know. I mean, how many being? I suppose though, um, being in Texas, maybe fans will show up. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
the Spanish fans, who knows if like there could be a lot in the U.S. I mean, we have a couple friends that are big Heretics fans.
Yeah.
Could be a lot in the U.S. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I would assume most of Spain that watches COD definitely
But
going to be rooting for them.
yeah.
Even probably a lot of just like the EU people in general, just because it's an EU team, are just going to be rooting for them.
hmm Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. But Brock, probably the match of round one, I would say, FaZe
Easily.
subliners. But to be honest with you, is it? I actually like. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, I'm more intrigued with like the LAT and then the Surge Vegas just because of the champs implications.
Yeah.
I kind of take that back. I'm more intrigued by the bottom 8 teams in this tournament just because like they have a lot more on the line. Like we know the top 4 are going to make it to champs. Like that's not a question. Obviously, the most intriguing top 4 team to me this event is OpTic, just to see if they can like find any kind of form.
Yeah. I guess I would say, like, and you would say if it was major 1 or 2, this would be the match of the
Oh,
first
for
round.
sure, for sure, yeah.
But champs and implications, who clutches up. I'm actually gonna pick Atlanta FaZe in a 3-2 game 5. Hope it
Eh,
happens.
yeah, New York seems to force a lot of game 5s, and then against the top teams, they seem to struggle to close them out.
Yeah. hmm and FaZe is FaZe.
Yeah, FaZe is FaZe, rounding into form. When it comes to major time, FaZe usually walk to the winners final every time. Who knows what they do from there, but they seem to at least make their way to Sunday pretty easily most times.
Yeah. Go to Sunday, and then Sunday comes, and they got the Sunday scaries half the time.
Yeah, they go to Sunday, they find their way into the final, and then they find their way to lose the final, but they're always there.
Yep.
Pretty rare that FaZe is. I mean, I don't even know when the last time. Honestly, they might have missed a Sunday. Or I shouldn't say a Sunday because I remember there used to be the weird schedule where it would only be like 3 teams on Sunday, but FaZe hasn't really missed like a top 3 since like honestly the last time I can remember them for sure missing one was Cold War when they lost to Seattle in like the last major
hmm
when Seattle was like horrible and had no chance of making champs. Maybe they didn't like Vanguard. No, they got second like every tournament in Vanguard.
I would say, did they get one like bad placing in Vanguard? But I think you're right. That's
No, I
probably
think they
Cold
got second
War.
at literally every tournament. Maybe they got one. I don't remember. But I know for sure they didn't place on Sunday in that Cold War tournament. They got beat on like standoff game 5 and Classic was popping off.
Yeah.
Like the classic prestinni, Octane, and Gunless or whatever the roster was.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But yeah, next match, Brock. Speaking of Surge, an excellent match here. Surge, Legion, obviously big match for both teams. Probably a little bigger for Vegas because I legit think Surge could probably get top 12 and still make champs, seeing as they're at 170. But a huge match for Vegas. Like obviously, like to win in winners round 1 is just massive because it guarantees you top 6. So you get to that whatever like 25 or 35, whatever the points is. Like you get those extra points.
Mhm.
Obviously, they're going into a death matchup with FaZe, but still, you want to guarantee that top 6 to get those points.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Vegas. I just Vegas to me, Seattle Surge, they're good. They got some talent. They got the teamwork aspect. But Vegas has the more of the talent to me, and I'm gonna pick them to clutch it up with Dylan attached. That pretty icy, and I'm gonna go 3-1 Vegas.
All right, got it down. Let's just do a
Attach.
losers bracket right away then. What are you gonna say?
I said Attach is gonna do everything he can to make champs this year because last year then he got benched before champs. And I
Yeah,
don't
and then
think
he
they
got
even
like,
made it.
but then he got like brought back. I think he got like benched for a little bit, but then he was brought back, and yeah, Minnesota didn't end up making it.
Yeah.
Brock, in losers bracket, we got a fantastic matchup. It's Ravens versus Gorillas. Winner doesn't necessarily clinch, especially like Carolina would have a better chance to make it if they are to win this. LAG would definitely not clinch because they would only be at 150 with this win, but LAG obviously would be, well, both teams are eliminated, but LAG one step closer, Carolina one step even closer to making it if they're able to win. So loser of this match is eliminated from champs, though. LAG, Carolina.
Uh, I'm gonna go game 5. Just game 5. Carolina pulls it out and squeaks by, and that
Game
caps
5,
off.
Carolina.
Yep, game 5 Carolina, and that caps off LAG season, which better than we all thought.
Yeah, I mean, and if you had told me LAG was like in a somewhat decent position to make champs going into the final tournament, I'd have been like, okay, honestly, probably a decently successful season for LAG considering what the roster looked like going into the year.
Yeah. These players, I thought these players aren't that bad playing together. I don't know. Very interesting from what I thought in the first major.
They're just so up and down, and I mean, like they have like players like I still like Fame as a player on the right roster, and like I think Estriel's pretty damn good. I think Flames has shown flashes, even Diamondcon. They've all had their flashes this year where they looked like if they were on the right roster for them, they could be pretty good players. But
Yeah.
I hope Carolina moves on here because I really do want to see Carolina make a run and make champs. I want to see him there personally as a spectator. I'm a big fan of Tej. I'm a big fan of Clay. I'm a big fan of Fellow. Like guys like that that have been like around for so long. And I'm a big fan of Gwyn, like a young talented player. I like him, but like guys like Tej, Clay, Fellow, for people like us that have been watching for a while, those are like the kind of guys we root for. It's like, come on, I want the old guard to have some success.
Yeah. I saw a stat, what was it, from Brian Stats on Twitter, maybe yesterday or the day before. It said T is in his ninth season. I was like, damn.
I know. Because, yeah, he was. I mean, I'm trying to. Well, from World War II, is it 9 seasons from World War II? It goes World War II, BO4, MW. Because I'm trying to figure out if he's counting like Tej playing in like Ghosts or AW or whatever. Because it
I would
goes World War
think it
II,
has
Black
to
Ops
be.
4, MW, Cold War, Vanguard, MW2, MW3. So that's 7. So yeah, they're probably counting like AW as 8. And then he didn't play in Black Ops 3 because that's when they put the age restriction. So maybe he did play a little bit in Ghosts.
Yeah.
I know for sure he played in AW as Toast for a little bit there.
Yeah.
So then I'm assuming, yeah, maybe he played like a Ghost tournament or 2 or something. But yeah, that is crazy to think about. Tej in his 9th season.
Yeah. And he's had a pretty good year overall.
Yeah, this is the best Tej year that I can remember since probably Black Ops 4.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's like MW on OGLA was kind of whatever. Cold War, like with like LAT and whoever was kind of up and down for him. Into Vanguard, Boston. Boston was like up and down. They were okay for a little bit. Into MW2 last year, he was up and down on Vegas. He had good moments, bad moments. And then this year, I would say it's been his best year since Black Ops 4. Black Ops 4 was a pretty darn good year. And obviously World War II was a very good year.
Yep, his rookie year.
Yeah. But yeah, Tej has been awesome this year. We've said it for a long time. If Tej, is focused on the game and is trying, like Tej can 100% be a contributing player on a winning team. And depending on how the contract situation goes, I could see a world where Tej gets on a slightly better team next year and is like on a top 6 team. Like Tej can definitely be on a top 4 team. Tej can be a player that can win events with the right team.
Yep. See the right players around him, and because he's a really really damn good search player too.
Yeah, in respawns, I feel like he can give you a pretty consistent 0.9 to 1.05 anywhere in that range while being an entry sub, and then also like being an extremely good top end. Like he can be a top end search player, good shot caller and everything. And also like in respawns, as much as like people like to meme Tej and everything, he like in respawns, he is very good. Like he very rarely makes the wrong play. Like he is pretty often making the right play. The only wrong place to see Tej make is a little bit of an overchild sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Tej is a very smart player, and it sounds like according to Fellow and the boys over there, like his comms and like everything in game has gotten a lot better, which we know that was always a knock on Tej, maybe not vocal enough.
Yep.
Shout out Tej, man. Brock, OpTic Miami, Vickle has the opportunity to do the funniest thing here.
He does, but I just think OpTic, they've had Miami's number ever since Vickle did the 3-0.
Yeah, they have.
And I just gotta think OpTic, finds something and wins it in a 3-1 fashion or something.
If they fall out top 12, all hell is gonna break loose out of champs.
Man, if they do, I just wonder what they can do.
It's so weird to pick them though, right? Because like your only argument really can be like you expect them to find form again on land, because like based on how you've seen them in the online stage, you can't really justify picking them.
Yeah.
They've been horrible. Like it hasn't even been like they've lost game 5s and stuff, but it's been like some of the mistakes they're making are just like what happened to this team? Like you can't justify it. Like I agree with you though. You can be like, it's OpTic. I think they'll figure out on land. They'll win some matches. Like I can see that argument, but like at the same time, it's like based on that online stage, like this is one of like the most confusing fall offs after an event that I can remember.
Yeah, I
happened?
have no words for it, honestly.
I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah,
I will try to analyze it, but I just don't even understand.
Yeah, I will say is if this was an online tournament, I would probably pick Miami at this point.
Okay, it's funny you say that though. In a way, this is like the worst possible tournament for OpTic to be going to though, because it's no fans. I feel like they'll ride off the momentum of the fans.
Yeah.
So in a way, like the no fan major, this is coming at the worst time ever for OpTic, because like obviously we know in general, no matter what major they go to, like the fans are typically on OpTic's side. Like that's just a fact. The fans are typically on OpTic's side, so like they can maybe like let's say OpTic were to play Miami and they have a nice win. They do win 3-1 like you think, and the fans are riding with them. They're hyped. Like OpTic could maybe ride the momentum, beat Carolina, maybe win another one, find themselves in top 4. And even if they get knocked out top 4, it's like, okay, we got behind the fans, built some momentum. But I don't know, with no fans, it might get interesting.
Yeah, it will, but I just think that I think they'll just be more locked in, even with no fans on LAN compared to online.
Yeah, I definitely see the argument for that as well. I see both sides. I see the people saying they're not going to be able to fix all that in a few days, and LAN's not going to fix it all. And I see your argument. I can see them both.
Yeah, but honestly, I just don't really know what's going to happen with this team.
Dude, this is the hardest major to predict by far. Just with OpTic being the 12th seed, is after winning is just mind blowing.
Yeah, it's literally like the fall of the century somehow.
Yeah. Well, Brock, and then going to our next matchup here, it's going to be weird no matter what, no matter who wins, because either Subliners, another top 4 team, are going to be down here, or FaZe. And that's not a team, because we're used to the top 4 teams. Just we assume they're probably going to get the top 4 seeds, split up, and then all make it to winners round 2, and then fall into losers from there. But here we're guaranteed to have New York or FaZe falling down, which, by the way, feels bad for Rocker. That sucks. Champs hopes on the line. You need to make a run to probably top 4 to have a really good chance to make it, and you draw the loser of Subliners FaZe.
Yeah, that's tough. I'm just 3-0 Subliners. I'm sorry, Rocker.
Sad. I like the Rock organization, and I love accuracy. I love gunless. I love the players in this team. Sad. But I get it.
Yep.
Now go to Surge Breach, Brock.
Boss, I think Seattle's going to 3-0 them.
Think so?
Yeah, just get over this season for Boston and try to go on to next year and see what they can do. Find the players for it.
Yeah, set their World Cup roster.
Yeah.
We'll continue in the losers bracket. Brock, Carolina, it's OpTic. Carolina at this point, if your bracket is to be true, would be sitting at 160 points, and it would guaranteed not be enough because the way you have your bracket shaking out. Obviously, Surge would now be at 180 with their win. And LAT and Vegas would both be jumping into the top 6 and would finish ahead of Carolina, and they're already ahead of them. So, if Carolina were to lose here, they'd be eliminated from champs in your hypothetical bracket.
It would be. I think Carolina is going to nuzzle OpTic and win 3-2 game 5.
I love it. That's just crazy. Did you think going into this major you'd be picking Carolina to knock OpTic out top 8?
No. I didn't see OpTic in a loser bracket either.
Yeah, I kind of figured OpTic would have the cakewalk, typical winners round 2, probably make winners final. If not, they'd run through the losers bracket pretty easily into Sunday. But here we are. OpTic you're picking them to get eliminated top 8, and it's not even a shocking pick.
Yep, and then maybe that'll be a wake up call.
Yeah,
for OpTic.
Brock, then you got Subliners Surge, the Lil Man matchup, 0-4 versus Sib.
Who's the better Lil Man? I'm going to pick the Subliners 3-1.
Surge get knocked out, but they get their 10 points. That should be 180. Surge should be pretty locked into champs at that point.
Yep.
Although with the way your bracket's shaping out, I guess if you continue to have Carolina make a run, and if you have Vegas and LAT win these matchups up here in the winners bracket, I guess technically there's a world where Surge could get eliminated. Maybe, I'm not sure.
It'd be close, that's for sure.
Brock, you got Toronto, LAT in the top of winners bracket. Who you got there? You think Toronto continues probably the easier half of the bracket to Sunday?
Yeah, I think the Thieves come out and win game 1, and then I think Toronto wins 3 straight after that.
All right, so 3-1 Toronto, send them to winners final, which puts us at FaZe versus Vegas Legion. Crazy upset, Brock, or FaZe get it done?
As much as I would love Vegas to upset FaZe here, I just don't see a world. Unless literally they're all dropping 1.2s.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna get. I think Vegas wins this. I think they win the search, and then 3-1 FaZe.
All right, which Brock then sends us down to Vegas, Carolina, which I believe in this situation would then become an elimination match because they both are tied. So, well, let's see. In your scenario, would this because they'd both be at whatever? Like I think this would in your scenario, this would then become an elimination match. I think because I think like in this situation, Surge, Miami, and LAT would all be safe since LAT is a little bit ahead. I think I think this would be the match for the eighth spot at champs. Vegas versus Carolina. As sad as it seems, Brock, it seems like it's pretty unlikely for us to get both Vegas and Carolina at champs. I'm pretty sad about it. I'm not gonna lie.
Sad.
The only way it's possible is if LAT gets double first rounded, which is possible because they would play OpTic.
Mm-hmm.
So it is possible. Like I think the only way for Vegas and Carolina to both make it would be LAT get double first rounded, and then they both make a run.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. Obviously, another game 5 for these two teams. I'm gonna go Vegas wins in a round 11 fashion because that's what I want to see. And Carolina goes home.
Okay. Actually, how many points? How many points is it if you get top 6, Brock? Looking here, it is
20.
Looking, it's 30, and it's 15. So, well, what are the standings here? So, actually, in a hypothetical situation where LAT were to bow out if LAT were to get double first round, they'd stay at 165. In your scenario, then Vegas and Carolina both get top 6, which would be 30 points, which would put them both at 180. So in your situation, in your exact situation here, your final 4 at champs would be Miami, Seattle, Carolina, and Vegas, which to me is what I want. So I hope your scenario is right.
Yep.
Well, no, never mind. Because you have LAT making top 6, it wouldn't be. But if LAT get double first rounded and Vegas and Carolina both make top 6, they both make it. If they both only make it to top 8 and LAT gets double first rounded, then it would get a little bit weird because they would all be tied at 165.
Mm-hmm.
And based on the way the tiebreakers are now, Carolina is eliminated, but I think it goes to map win percentage. And it would depend on how the maps went at the tournament, like what their map win percentage was. Like if Carolina was able to like 3-0 and then lose 3-2, maybe they would get in over them because they are within 1% of each other right now. So it'll get crazy. The scenarios are absurd.
Jeez, should be interesting.
Yeah. Then you got LAT versus Subliners, Brock. Obviously, the matchup that just happened this weekend where LAT was able to reverse sweep.
I think it goes game 5, but LAT does not win this time. Subliner prevails and moves on.
All right, Brock. So that leaves us with the losers final. We'll do that one first. That leaves us with Vegas making a Sunday for the first time all season, probably first time ever. Besides that one tournament, if you want to even count it, the home series in MW that they made, where they made to the finals.
Yeah.
But Vegas versus Subliners. Vegas continue the Cinderella run to top 3, or you got Subliners taking them out?
I got Subliners winning in another game 5 in Vegas, but probably makes champs at this rate, and
for sure, yeah, 100%. Because I'm looking at it, if you get top 4, that's 45. That put Vegas at 195. There's literally zero chance Vegas with 195 doesn't make it.
And Vegas clutches up and makes champs, but they bow out top 4.
If you're Vegas, you're taking that all day.
Yeah, easily.
Which was at the winners finals, Brock, the classic Toronto FaZe.
Toronto FaZe. Who should I pick here? I pick FaZe 3-2, and they get it from last time.
Their revenge from last tournament.
Yep.
I saw a crazy thing. What did I see? Unless I read it wrong, like Scrappy all time versus Straza on land now is like very good. Like 1 loss only.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna just see if I can find it here. It's not like NBA stats, so you can just like look it up as easy, like on StatMuse.
Yeah.
Like I can just look up like this person versus like LeBron versus Kobe head-to-head matchup, and it just pops up for me.
Yeah, but Scrappy has been getting a lot better. I'm
pissed. Draza. I googled Scrappy versus Draza LAN record, and Google's trying to say it wants me to autocorrect it to Scrappy versus Draza land with the D record.
No, not land.
I'm pissed. There's a Reddit post from 2 months ago. Total head-to-head is LAN head-to-head is 5-1, and this was for 2 months ago, so before the last major. So then I believe that wouldn't include. So I think that is what I saw. So then Scrap did beat him in the last major. So I believe it's 6-1 on LAN.
Damn.
Scrap's record against him. Yeah, so Scrap on LAN kind of owns Draza at this point.
He does. That's kind of shocking.
Yeah, because I mean Draza's also like Scrap's been on a good Toronto team his whole career, but like Draza in the window that Scrap's been around has also been on a very good team. Although I will say like Toronto was pretty overall better than LAT last year for the most part.
Yeah.
And then this year, obviously, Toronto and FaZe have both been top teams.
Mm-hmm.
That sends us down to losers finals, Brock. Subliners, Ultra. Ultra seem to be a tier above subliners recently, but you never know. Any given Sunday.
Yeah, but I'm gonna pick Toronto wins 3-1 against subliners, and subliner gets top 3.
Decent momentum for subliners going into champs, though. You never know with that team. They are the defending champs for a reason. They can always turn up.
Yeah, they might show up at champs.
Yeah, you never know. Brock, that leads us to FaZe Ultra, probably the most common picked finals for this tournament, I would say, because right now they are head and shoulders the two best teams, with OpTic looking as abysmal as they do, and New York being solid, but they're certainly not on the level of Toronto or FaZe right now, we assume.
Mm-hmm. I said I'm gonna go Game 7 because why not Game 7? Love it. I'm gonna go Toronto Ultra wins 4-3, and Scrappy's record is better against Draza.
Yeah. we haven't seen Game 7 this year, have we?
I don't think so, but I keep predicting it, but it never happens.
That's what we're hoping for. Obviously, last tournament was the 4-0 OpTic, and then I'm pretty sure the other ones were like 5 or 6, both of them.
Yeah,
because that was the first sweep, I believe, on the year, unless I'm remembering wrong.
Yep.
All right, Brock. So then, in your situation here, just based on the way your bracket shakes out, I believe your champs teams, because then Surge would be getting their 15 for a top 8, which would put them at 185, and then Carolina would only get to 180. Vegas would get to 195. Thieves would also get to 195. Yeah. So in your hypothetical situation here, well, you had Miami getting double first rounded, huh?
Yes.
So they would stay at 1. See, I'm really confused here. Because I thought we saw that Miami was locked into champs, but in your hypothetical situation here, Surge would have 185. So Miami would stay at 170. Surge would have 185. LAT would have 195. So they'd be ahead of Miami. Vegas would be at 195, and then Carolina would be at 180. So I'm very confused. Unless the standings are wrong on the website, or I'm reading how you earn points incorrectly, I think in your situation, Miami would not make champs. And I swear we saw this weekend them congratulating Miami.
Thought so too, but it doesn't sound like it.
No, because so am I seeing this wrong? You have Carolina getting top 6, so they would have 30 points, which would put them at 180. Miami would stay at 170 because they got dead last. So they would stay at 170. Carolina would jump them. Vegas you have them finishing 3rd. So they'd be ahead of Miami. Seattle, you have finishing top 8, getting 15 points. They would jump Miami. I don't know. You know what? Is this not updated? Because shouldn't Miami be over Surge? I'm tripping right now. Sorry for all the listeners. I'm tripping on this. I'm confused because I swear we saw Miami was locked into champs. But based on unless the standings are incorrect,
they got 170, I believe, right?
Yeah, that's what the website shows. But unless the thing on the website that shows how many points you get for replacement is incorrect, unless I'm reading this wrong, or just thinking of this wrong in my head, Miami shouldn't be locked into champs.
I don't.
Because am I tripping, or on the broadcast were they not congratulating Miami for booking their ticket to champs?
I thought they were.
Well, technically, based on the way you have your bracket shaking out, I don't think that's true.
Yeah, I don't. They shouldn't be locked in because they only have 170.
Yeah. Did they not say that? I swear.
I don't. I can't remember.
Or maybe they were saying they secured winner's bracket. I don't know.
It might have been the winner's bracket.
Yeah, so Miami did post 6 hours ago, almost that time, back this Thursday with the last major, time to secure champs. So like they're saying, yeah, they said we secured winner's bracket. Now let's secure our champ spot. They're tweeting about like securing. So yeah, Miami hasn't officially clinched, but unless I'm like getting like Mandela effect right now, I swear. Yeah, comment down below. Am I just absolutely tripping right now? I swear there was a segment after Miami won where they congratulated them for clinching champs.
I think Mandela effect.
I swear. Maybe I'm wrong. I could easily be tripping. It's been known to happen, but I swear. Oh, so Miami isn't locked in. Like after seeing that segment, I swear I thought they were. So they're not, because in your situation, Brock, I believe Vegas and LAT would be tied for 195. It would come down to whatever tiebreaker, but they would be the 5 and 6. Seattle would be at 185, and they would be our 7. So your situation would be LAT, Vegas would be tiebreaker. They'd be 5/6. Seattle would be 7, and Carolina would be 8, which actually would be also an awesome bracket. I would love that one too. As long as any combination of Miami, Seattle, LAT, Vegas, and Carolina make it, I'm happy.
Yep, I agree.
So yeah, in your situation, Miami actually misses, so they aren't locked in. I swear I saw that. I'm tripping. Sorry to all the listeners that took so long for us to figure out. You probably listening here like, what the hell? Why is it taking so long? But I don't know. I swear I saw a thing that said Miami was locked in. I'm about to go back after this podcast and rewatch the broadcast after Miami's match and like listen to them say Miami clinched champs as a lie. I swear. Maybe it was winner's bracket and I wasn't paying attention.
Maybe they did say champs, but they meant winner's bracket too.
Yeah, it was probably they were talking about winner's bracket and I probably just heard it wrong.
Yeah, that's my bracket. Hopefully, it's perfect, but we'll see.
Have you? No, I was gonna say, have you picked every winner? No, as a podcast we have, because I picked OpTic last major.
Yep.
And I picked the first 2 wrong, but you picked the first 2 winners, and I picked the third one. So yeah, unfortunately, Brock, I may copy your winner, so we might be kind of all eggs in one basket here. Speaking of that, I got a lot of my thoughts out, so I'll go through the bracket quick. But what were you gonna say?
According to the winners that have won so far, it's kind of New York Subliners' turn to win.
It is, if all the top 4 teams want to win one each, or maybe it's just like the chaos of everything. They've let 3 top 4 teams win, a non-top 4 is going to win. I hope that's the case, because that would be really fun if like LAT or Miami or Seattle or Vegas, one of the winners bracket teams. Actually, let's let Carolina win so they can lock in champs.
I can't wait for like Subliners to actually win this in the top 4 win, and then a non-top 4 wins champs.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. All right, Brock. Toronto, LAG. I got Toronto 3-0. They're going to smoke LAG. Nothing much more to say there.
Reed.
Yeah. Then, shoot. I don't know, Brock. LAT, Miami's a tough one for me.
Both like the same.
Yeah, they really are. Miami, like, I guess maybe is playing a little better lately, but that's not even really that true, because LAT just took out Subliners. I'm so torn here. I don't know, because like, and both of them have had their. It's not like I can be like, well, this team's been better on land. They've both been overall pretty terrible on land.
Yeah.
Like Miami technically has had the better like one single run, because they did make a top 6 run, but like they were double first rounded without winning a map twice. Boy, it's a brutal draw, because these are both teams I think could win. You went LAT. I'm gonna go Miami. I think it's gonna go map 5. I think Miami wins. I just feel like I've seen them both play pretty well, but I don't know. I think Miami are gonna take them out, and this is a matchup I'm completely torn on. I feel zero confidence in that one. I'm gonna take Miami to game 5. FaZe Subliners. I'm not as torn on this one. I think it's I don't know why 3-1 is just sticking out to me. I think FaZe are going to be able to take them out. I think maybe FaZe lose the control or the search, one of the two. I think they win both hard points. They've looked a lot better in hard point than New York. Yeah, I think New York takes map 2 or 3, but FaZe wins 3-1.
Yeah. Honestly, I can't think of like a time this year where I've wanted to pick subliners over FaZe.
Yeah, they're just like I don't know. It would have to be in a Neslo. I feel like FaZe hardpoint's been a lot better. New York's search has been like their bread and butter for a good portion of the season. Like their search has been really good at times. So I feel like if subliners are gonna get it done, I feel like it's gonna have to be in a game 5, and they're gonna have to win both searches and find a way to take a respawn.
Yeah.
But they certainly can do it. It's not impossible. Like they're still a very good team. They can upset anybody.
They got the talent. That's for sure.
And Sib's been playing a lot better this stage. Surge, Legion, Brock. Whew. I feel like Legion are going to win this one. I think it goes game 5. I'm taking Legion, though, because I don't know, like, as much as I've liked the way Surge has looked, I feel like, even though they've been playing decent, I feel like as of late, teams have been starting to figure them out a little bit, if that makes sense. Like, they have the very chaotic play style where they play, like, fast and together in hardpoint, and it leads to them getting outslayed and winning a lot. And, like, there was a couple times in Search this weekend where, like, huke was just, like, sprinting out with a bomb and just dying with no trade near him and just like leaving the bomb there for the other teams to just sit around.
And
it was like, I don't know, like plays like that on land, I feel like you're going to get even more punished because like you do that on land, like teams are going to be more locked in. Like they're obviously just like, I mean, as much as you hate to say it, they are trying harder. Like they're more locked in. The communication's probably flowing better. And like if huke's just sprinting into like I saw him sprint into square, on what is that B bomb? No, yeah, B bomb on invasion. He like sprinted up to the tank through dark and just like died right there and gave them the bomb, and it was like a free round. And it's like he does stuff like that a lot where like yes, you live and die by the crazy huke plays because sometimes him having that aggression turns into a 2-piece first blood and wins you the round. I don't know. His performance seems to go down a lot on land, and I feel like teams are getting used to their play style. I think Vegas is going to be a team that's going to be very good at VOD work. Going to get Seattle down to a T, and I think they're going to beat them 3-2, clutch up, which would be a huge win for Vegas.
Yep. Like it.
Heading down to losers bracket, LAG, Carolina. Honestly, I actually think there's a very, very, very real world where LAG upsets Carolina. I don't think it's out of the question at all. LAG overall this year on LAN. They didn't obviously have success last major with Flames, but the first 2 majors with Assault, they finished top 6 at both of them. And they've looked overall online probably the best with Flames that they really have at any point for a while there. I mean, their double 6-0 or their double 3-0 weekend the other weekend helped them so much, like map count wise, to be able to win and make it to winners bracket because it ended up coming down to that tiebreaker. But I think Carolina is going to handle them pretty easy. I think Carolina is going to beat them 3-1, losing just the search. I think Carolina is going to win 3 respawns.
Like it.
Then it's LAT OpTic, Brock. Oh, this is a prime time for LAT to go out and, you know, finally beat their land woes, take out OpTic, top 12, send the community into a spiral.
Are they going to do it?
Oddly enough, I feel like if Miami drops down here, I like them more to win. As weird as that sounds, it's just so weird because like in my head, like LAT are playing way better than OpTic right now, but it's like I feel like land's going to turn OpTic up a little bit, but the no fans hurts them. Oh, I don't know. I think I'm going to say OpTic wins in 4 because I can't trust them in a game 5. But I don't feel confident in that. LAT could definitely upset them here, and I would not be surprised.
Yep.
It's so crazy to think they won our last major, and now we're sitting here being like, yeah, I won't be surprised if they get last.
Yeah, just so the unknown that we don't know which players will show up or team.
It's just wild, man. Then Brock, fortunately for the Minnesota Rockers, much as I love them, they play subliners. Weirdly enough, I think they're going to fight like hell and force a game 5. But I do think they're going to fall to the subliners 3-2, and subliners will move on. I think it's going to be a weirdly mixy series with Minnesota clawing for their life.
Like it. Or game 5's the better, my book.
Yeah. And Brock, does this sound insane? But I think Boston has a legitimate chance to upset Seattle.
They do. If Boston play like they did against OpTic, definitely.
They so bad the next day against Carolina. But so the reason I say this though is like it is like Cold War Seattle vibes. obviously I know that was a weird situation because they had played like a few majors online with COVID, and like the last few majors were on LAN, and Seattle was a lot better LAN team that year with Octane and all them. But like,
Mhm.
there's like this weird Boston vibe where it's like Seattle, you fell into losers bracket when you had a really winnable round one. Like, there's a world where you miss out on champs if you lose this. Like, you're playing Boston, it's a free win. There's like an aspect to it. Like, I don't know. Like Boston, it's like you're not making champs. Like you actually have to win the major and have a lot of things go your way in order to make champs. So like you assume Boston, you're not making it, but like you're just like screw it. We got nothing to lose. Let's just go out there. Let's get a good place and let's make a little money, boys. Like it's our last time for some of these players. Like Major Maniac, potentially the last time you're in the league. I'm
Yeah.
gonna assume Priestess, Snoopy, and just Snoopy with his raw talent, like gun skill, movement, everything. I assume Snoopy's gonna get another shot. I assume Beans might actually stick around Boston. I think they should keep him around, and then I assume Priestess probably gonna get at least one more shot. Major Maniac though, don't know if he gets another shot. So like these guys are gonna be playing for their lives. I think Boston's gonna beat him.
Ooh, upset. I like it.
I think Boston's going to beat them in a game 5. I think it's going to be everything that you don't think is going to happen happens. Boston wins in a game 5. They can't win search, but they end up winning game 5. I think Boston. I think Boston reverse sweep.
Ooh.
I think I was going to say maybe they win map 1 and then rattle off map 4 and 5, but I think Boston gets beat like 250 to 120. Map 1 gets like 6-2 in search. They're getting blown out of the water, and then I think they 3-0 them in control, win a close hard point, win like around 10 or 11. And Boston reverse sweep. Bold prediction. They got nothing to lose. They're just going to go out and play spoiler for fun.
I like it. Like I said, these players are playing for spots potentially next season.
Yeah, we're going to look back. They're going to get 3-0, 100-point club, 6-0, 3-0'd. And I'm going to be like, well, why did I pick Boston?
Yeah, it's a thought that that matters.
Yeah. Brock, I'm going with you. I'm going Carolina, taking out OpTic.
Go Carolina.
Mostly because I'm manifesting Carolina to champs. OpTic fans don't hate us too much. We have them dropping out top 8, but OpTic's in champs. Whatever. We know they're going to be there.
Yep.
I obviously want OpTic at champs as well because an event without OpTic is not nearly as fun. Crowd's not nearly as into it. It's not as full. But man, I want Carolina at champs so bad. We missed them last year. Obviously, I've been to 2 champs now, last year and BO4. So I've seen Clay win champs in person, but I want to see my boy Tej advance a lot further. I like this Carolina team. They're playing better than OpTic is right now. They just beat them online. There's no reason they can't do it again. Carolina 3-2. OpTic bows out top 8 and has a lot of questions to answer before champs.
Like it.
Down here, Brock, though, Breach run comes to an end. It's a 3-0 subliners.
Yeah, I kind of saw that coming.
Move up to the top. It's another 3-0. Toronto 3-0's their way to winners finals over Heretics. I think Vegas gets a little scrappy on FaZe, but I think they lose 3-1, dropping them down to losers, which leaves us in the same situation where I guess in this hypothetical, with Thieves getting double first rounded and Surge getting double first rounded, I think Vegas and Ravens, yeah, because Surge would stay at 170, Thieves would stay at 165. So I think in this situation now, Vegas and Carolina would both be locked into champs.
That's what we want to see. Both teams in there.
Yeah, in my situation, they'd both be locked into champs, which, yeah, maybe that's why I'm picking it this way, is because that's what I want to see, because I love the players in these 2 teams. So biased, I want to see them at champs. I think Carolina takes out Vegas here, though. 3-1. I think they do it pretty handily, actually. I think Clay gets the better of his old teammate Attach. Carolina moves on to Sunday. Then in the bottom, I think subliners are going to get hot after beating a Rocker team in a close match. I think they're going to get another 3-0. Take out Miami, moving into the losers finals, where it's Carolina, it's New York. Carolina's run comes to an end, but it's definitely not for nothing because they qualify for champs. But I think they get 3-0'd. I think subliners go on a 9-map win streak going into the elimination finals.
Very possible.
Back up to the winners bracket. Toronto's going to take out FaZe, Brock. They're going to do it 3-1. FaZe are going to win map 1 and then lose 3 straight. Then after
Sunday scaries are back.
After 3-0ing a bunch of teams, I think subliners then fall to FaZe. I think FaZe take out subliners 3-1 again, which moves us to our final. Toronto versus FaZe, absolute cinema, and Toronto takes them out 4-2. and Toronto as your major champions. I picked the same team as you, Brock.
I like it.
I like it too because in this situation, I believe based on points that would put I had Miami, so Miami would get to 200, Surge would stay at 170, Thieves would stay at 165, Vegas would get to 180, Carolina would get to 195 or whatever. So yeah, so it'd be Heretics at 5, Carolina at 6, Vegas at 7, and Seattle at 8, and LAT would actually be the team out.
Okay.
So that would be a very interesting situation. But I honestly couldn't tell you what's going to happen. I think it's going to be crazy either way. I think both of our scenarios are honestly unlikely. I really don't think both Carolina and Vegas are going to make it. I really do think it's going to be Miami, Seattle, LAT making it, and then Carolina or Vegas are both going to fight for the last spot. But you never know. I hope both of our brackets are right because Carolina and Vegas are the teams with in the bottom that like I really like the players.
Yeah.
So I hope they both make it.
Yep.
Biased reasons, obviously.
I mean, I agree with you there. I love the players on both teams.
Yeah, and obviously attending champs, we want to see the players that we love to see play.
And they have the upset potential, unlike maybe some of the other teams that squeak in.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, there's one more thing I want to mention. We can just mention it quick in passing, give like a 20-second thought on it. That's Cloud9 apparently is buying the New York Subliners, like their parent company or something, merging with them and taking over for, it sounds like, the World Cup and then the 2025 CDL season. So kind of sad, to be honest, Brock, for me at least, because Cloud9, great brand in gaming, in esports and everything, but it's very sad because like, why could they not have taken like a team that doesn't care spot like LAG? They're taking a team that legitimately cares and puts a lot into the CDL in New York. And merging with them, it kind of sucks. Like I wish they could have bought LAG spot and like kept a team that cares like New York, and then Cloud9, who has, I believe, a lot of funding and actually would care. Taking a team that doesn't care spot like LAG would be kind of nice.
Yeah, definitely would be, but it's unfortunate the way it has to happen.
Yeah, but it's cool though because Cloud9 is a big organization, big brand in esports, so it's cool to see them, coming into the league next year most likely.
Yep.
You got anything else, Brock, before we wrap it up?
No, just excited to see how this all plays out this weekend. The Major 4 tournament.
I will say, just with the way that everything shook out this year, and even though it was very lopsided amongst the top 4 pretty much all year, except for this major with OpTic struggling, and a little bit later, teams like New York, Toronto, they were losing a little bit to the bottom teams. I will say, with the way that everything shook out this year, like we are set up for one of the most exciting final majors. Sucks that there's no fans once again, but in terms of just the storylines of the major, we are set up for one of the most exciting ones because there are legitimately, like, I know we both would agree that like Minnesota and like LAG are looking pretty dead overall, and even Carolina being in losers bracket, it's like looking like a long shot, but like, I mean, Boston are technically alive, but I think we would both agree that they're not actually alive.
Yeah.
But there are legitimately 11 teams that have a case. Like, could Minnesota make a miracle run and beat Subliners or FaZe? Super unlikely, but it's technically possible. All they have to do is win a few matches to potentially get up there. LAG, same thing. They're at least in winners bracket. They get double chances to maybe make a little bit of a run. It's very exciting that we have like 5 teams really fighting for the final 2 spots and then 2 teams with outside chances. Like, that's super exciting going into the final major.
Sure is.
But yeah, that's going to do it for this one. Went a little bit long, but predictions are always fun. If you guys enjoyed this one, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. If you're on the audio platforms, drop a follow, drop a 5-star review. We appreciate your support as always. It's been a fantastic regular season here. The regular season is coming to a close. Wild. We appreciate all your support this year. Obviously, the channel approaching 1,400 subs on YouTube, plenty of followers over on Spotify. So we appreciate all of you. Absolutely not done yet. We still have Champs, World Cup, off season, all that. Lots of things coming in the future here. We've got an exciting collab with some members of our community. Some of you might know who that is, but we have a very exciting collab coming up where Brock and I are going to, I can't really say much to it, but Brock and I are going to be part of a vote for some things involving the CDL and kind of a creator collab. So we got invited to do that by another creator in the scene. So that's super exciting. Going to be super fun for Brock and I to dive into that and get involved in that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy watching the major this weekend. And we will see you next week with reactions to the major and, starting to gear up and talk champs. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.